All right, you know what time it is. Neil Ratner, Rock Doc here with a story. So, July 1st, 1967, the Beatles album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band started a 15-week run as the #1 album in the United States. Now, Sgt. Pepper, of course, is regarded as one of the most important and influential albums in the history of rock and roll. And today, I thought I'd tell you a few things about the making of the record that you might not know. And as usual, a little background first. Alright, so by late 1966, the Beatles had it with touring. Beatles concerts had nothing to do with music anymore, and George Harrison even threatened to quit if the group continued touring. Manager Brian Epstein assured the group that there would be no more tours and gave the band 3 months off to get themselves together before returning to the studio to record a new album. All right. George went off to India to study sitar with Ravi Shankar. Ringo stayed home and spent time with his family. John acted in the film How I Won the War. And Paul and Beatles assistant Mal Evans went to Kenya on safari. Something I probably would have done. All right, now, on their way back from Kenya, Mal and Paul spoke about the new album and how the Beatles were tired of being the Beatles, and it was time for the band to create an alter ego for their new record. Paul's idea involved an Edwardian-era military band, and he told Mal to think of names as they were served lunch on the plane. Okay, the meal came with 2 little white packets marked S and P. Mal was confused and asked Paul what the S and P stood for. Salt and pepper, Paul replied, and it became a joke between them. Paul started to play with the words, varying them a bit. Salt and pepper, Sgt. Pepper was the end result. Now, McCartney added Lonely Hearts Club to Sgt. Pepper and figured it would be a crazy enough band name because why would a Lonely Hearts Club have a band? Now, once in the studio, McCartney suggested that the Beatles record an entire album representing a performance by the fictional band. And this would allow them the freedom to experiment musically, and at the same time, it would release them from their Beatles image. So they sought to inject an atmosphere of celebration into the recording sessions. They introduced psychedelic lighting to the studio space. You know how they looked for Sgt. Pepper, right? Which included a device on which 5 red fluorescent tubes were fixed to a microphone stand. They had a lava lamp, a red darkroom lamp, and a stroboscope, which they didn't like. They soon abandoned that. That was a little too much. Now, George Harrison later said the studio became the band's clubhouse for Sgt. Pepper. David Crosby, Mick Jagger, and Donovan were among the musician friends who visited them there. Now, the band members, as I said, they also dressed up in psychedelic clothing. I'm sure you've seen pictures and the album cover and stuff, leading one session trumpeter to wonder whether they were in costume for a new film. But of course they weren't. Now, drug taking, of course, was prevalent during the sessions, with producer George Martin later recalling that the group would steal away to have something, quote unquote. All right. Now, the album Sgt. Pepper took 5 months to record, and the record company was pressuring the band to release a single. So, Strawberry Fields Forever and Penny Lane were issued ahead of the album as a double-sided single. And as they did when they released singles, those 2 songs were subsequently left off the album. Now, when the single failed to reach #1 in the UK, British press speculated that the group's run of success might have ended, with headlines like, Beatles fell to reach the top and has the bubble burst. Now, McCartney wasn't worried and said, I remember the great glee seeing in one of the papers how the Beatles have dried up. And I was sitting, rubbing my hands, saying, you just wait, you just wait. Yeah, and then they put out Sgt. Pepper, one of the greatest albums of all time. as far as many people are concerned, and it's certainly in my list of the top 5 or so albums of all time. How about yours? All right, that's my story for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll have more stories as the days go on. You know where to find me around the internet, and as I like to say, always remember to keep on rocking. Yeah. All right. There we go. All right. See you somewhere soon. Bye for now.